Well, a Mobile County Commissioner has some questions this afternoon. He wants to know how a possible moratorium on the construction of a new oil storage tank would affect Airbus and other industries.
Last week, a Mobile City Council committee voted to recommend a 6-month moratorium on issuing permits for oil tanks. But Jerry Carl says he thinks what he calls common sense will prevail by the time the council is scheduled to vote next Tuesday.
Fox News reporter Steve Alexander is joining us in the studio with his concerns. Steve, what's going on?
Well, the City Council Rules Committee voted 2-1 in favor of the moratorium last week. Council members Bess Rich and C.J. Small voted for it. Councilmember John Williams voted against it. But it will now be up to the full council to decide whether or not to approve it. And there are a lot of voices for and against it. The designated areas where storage tanks couldn't be built are all properties north and south of Bay Bridge Road and New Bay Bridge Road. County Commissioner Jerry Carl says he doesn't think a moratorium is what we need.
Do we need to probably look at it long term? Of course we do. And we need to get the environmental groups in as well as the local businessmen to do it. But the word moratorium scares people to death. I personally have not received phone calls, but I understand there's been several different entities at the dock that's been calling.
Carl also raised questions about how one of the city's new major industries will function with a moratorium.
Airbus is a good example. Under the moratorium now, they can't put a fuel tank there. Well, it's kind of hard to assemble a plane and take it off unless you can fuel it up. So obviously they're going to have to make some exceptions to it.
Fox 10 contacted Airbus officials for their reaction to a moratorium, but they're not making a statement one way or the other. But a lot of people have been talking, especially at the council committee meeting last week. Those in favor of the moratorium said it's time to hit the pause button.
It gives the city council and our other elected and appointed officials a chance to look at the big picture, gather valuable public information, and make decisions, sound decisions, that are going to guide and direct the future of this city.
Those against the moratorium said it will have a bad effect on business.
When you think about the environmental impact, you think about the economic impact, it's not just right here at home. It's our neighbors to the north. You want to shut down the industry in Mobile, they will go somewhere else.
Now, the moratorium is sponsored by council members Fred Richardson and Levon Manzi. As for the other two council members we haven't mentioned, we reached out to Gina Gregory and Joel Davis to get their thoughts on the moratorium today. I talked to Davis this afternoon, and he says he feels a moratorium is too broad, that it sends the wrong message, and that we should look at proposals on a case-by-case basis. We haven't heard back from Gina Gregory as of yet.
A local